Hi, welcome to EPCC Culinary Chef Share video series. Today we're going to be looking at ice carving. And I've enlisted the help of Chef Zeke, our lab assistant, Chef Morales, who is our ever-present camera worker, and we have Chef Diaz coming in doing a little cameo on the ice carving. We're going to take this ice carving, or really a couple of them, we're going to take them from block to finished product. So you're going to see how we create the large ice blocks in the freezer. You're going to see how we take those blocks in and out of the freezer, move them into storage, and then fabricate them down on the CNC machine, and then finish them by hand. So if you like these videos, please let us know, and also if you have any ideas for further videos, we're open to suggestions. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. Next we have Chef Ryan Warner giving a cautionary tale about properly handling tools when ice carving.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Warner. I am executive chef at Brunch Cafe. I attended El Paso Community College Culinary Arts program. I graduated in 2010. The reason I'm here today is to speak with you all about safety in the kitchen, and especially with ice carving. So I was working on the ice carving. I was with a couple other students out there, and we were working on it outside. And I was using the Dremel to do some detailing on the ice carving. And I just guess I was not paying enough attention to what I was doing, which is something you definitely need to do, is pay plenty of attention. Don't let your guard down, because I let my guard down, and in an instant I injured my hand. It was a pretty traumatic experience. Once it happened, they ended up calling an ambulance. Had to ride in the ambulance to the hospital. I was in a lot of pain. Well, for instance, I don't know if you can see the scarring on my hand, but so the Dremel hit my hand, tore up all the skin right here. Like I said, I had to ride in the ambulance to the hospital. Went to the emergency room and got over 100 stitches in my hand easily. I ended up having 4 surgeries altogether. They had to take a tendon from one of my toes and put it in my hand so I could move my finger again. Yeah, it was definitely a traumatic experience, and hopefully this can help prevent anyone else from going through that. The good thing that came out of it is that I am definitely now more cautious with what I'm doing. Just in general, working in a kitchen, there's a lot of hazards, so you definitely need to keep your guard up. The second that you let your guard down, something will happen, and who knows, you will end up in urgent care or emergency room, having to get stitches or getting parts of your body put back on. It only slowed me down. It slowed me down temporarily. Yeah, it took a little while, but I got back into the kitchen, and I'm still working in the kitchen every day and trying to get better every day with what I'm doing.
Welcome back to the ice carving video. I'm Chef Rosser again. So when we're doing ice carvings, we're using a variety of large and small tools. We're going to talk about some hand tools, some power tools, and then some large stationary equipment that we're using for to produce ice carvings. So for the power tools, what we have today is we have an inline Dremel type tool that uses very high RPMs and a variety of bit sizes and shapes to get certain effects with the ice. This is just a grooved straight bit. Next we have this handy guy. This is an angle grinder, and rather than your standard kind of angle grinder head, what we have is, this has been fabricated specifically for ice. What it has in it is about 150 small nails epoxied into the surface. This one's getting fairly worn. about time for a replacement. But what this is really great for is kind of evening out the surface and taking a thicker piece to a thinner piece pretty rapidly. Just keep in mind, whenever using power tools with the ice, it's always a good idea to wear eye protection, because those little ice chips can come off at very high speed and get in your eyes, and that is not a pleasant experience. Next, we use just a regular industrial size drill, and what we can do with this specific tip is create grooving, and we can also use the side of this bit to kind of shave down and give contouring. This is a really handy tool. This is everybody's favorite when it comes to ice carving, the old-fashioned chainsaw. We use electric models because they're indoors, and we don't want to create carbon monoxide indoors from burning a gas engine. So we have a variety of electric chainsaws. They work very well. The main thing to remember with the chainsaws is chain tension and keeping those chains sharp. Once that chain gets dull, it will cake with ice very quickly and slow down any kind of production that you have going on. So on the hand tool side with the ice carving, mostly what we're going to be using is a variety of hand saws, and these are specifically made for ice carving. It's fairly thin, really flexible, and you can see that the teeth on this saw are very large, and it's got a very wide kerf, and the kerf of the saw is how the teeth separate, which creates the groove when sawing. So this is a great, very, very handy saw. You can do a lot of work very quickly with this saw, especially if that ice is tempered properly. And one of the things you have to remember with ice is when you're carving, it has to be tempered properly. Here's just a pick, and this has 6 teeth on it, and this is just for taking off large chunks. So if you're going to shape the base of your carving, and you need to take a lot off very quickly, and you don't really care what it looks like, you go back and do the finer detail after you use this piece. And then here we have an array of chisels. These are V-shaped chisels to do trough work. We have flat chisels and curved chisels. Some are markedly more curved than others, if you look at those. And it just depends on what you need and what you're comfortable with. Some instructors or chefs are more comfortable working with larger chisels, others with smaller chisels. Again, the thing to remember, take care of your equipment, keep it sharp, keep it dry, and always make sure that you are, when you're using it, going away from yourself. You don't want to put one of these sharp chisels into your hand when you're doing an ice carving. So as you can see here, Zeke is filling the ice block tank. Each of these wells in the tank, which is actually just a horizontal freezer, each of those wells holds 50 gallons of water. The block capacity of that machine is 100 gallons or 800 pounds. Each of those blocks would weigh 400 pounds apiece. After they are frozen and the excess water is drained, they usually weigh about 300 pounds, and we use a engine hoist with a crossbar to pull them out. You'll notice the clips at either end of the block. Those flat metal plate clips are what allow us to take the blocks in and out. Also, in that horizontal freezer, we have to line each of those wells with a heavy-duty plastic liner, otherwise the blocks will leak out and freeze either in the bottom of the freezer or leak onto the floor. A few days later, those blocks blocks have frozen solid. There will be some liquid water remaining at the top, but if you'll notice, those blocks are very clear when you look in there. It's hard to see that it's ice. The way that we do that is we have submersible water pumps gently circulating water as it freezes, and that keeps that feathering effect, or those small ice bubbles, from forming, so you get a very clear product. If those pumps weren't in there, that ice would be very white and opaque, similar to what you would think of you would see on an iceberg. You would have that whitish ice. So those circulating pumps is what helps keep the ice clear. Zeke here is using a tube attached to the bottom of the pump to pump out the excess water, and then we use the engine hoist to pull those blocks out, usually by those clips. The housing of the horizontal freezer inside of those block trays is spring-loaded, so you'll see how Zeke moves the walls of that chamber to loosen up that block. After Zeke gets the ice block out, he's using the engine block hoist, as well as underneath the ice block he's got a cradle dolly, which helps make this a one-man operation. That cradle dolly catches the ice block, and you'll notice the curved ends on that cradle dolly. It's got wheels, and when that cradle dolly is pushed into the freezer, you can upend it and stand the block on end. The next step in the ice carving process is evening out the ice block, and we have this large apparatus with a chainsaw mounted in it to even the blocks out. You'll notice a curvature in the ice, and what we need to do is level that out. Zeke is putting this into the leveling machine, and he's going to use a couple of sheet pans to create a spacer so that it cuts only as much ice off of that block as he wants. CNC machine is the next step in this ice carving process. Now Zeke here is using a preloaded program from the CNC machine itself, or he can, if he likes, do a custom program. It takes a bit of time, but Zeke has gotten very good at it. This is going to be a sea turtle. The way the CNC machine works is it rotates, it moves on 3 axes. So it goes up and down, side to side, and in and out. You'll notice the movement of the machine. The up and down and side to side are very easy to notice. However, the in and out is a little trickier to see. You'll notice that the depth of the cut can vary, but since this is a one-sided carving, after it comes out of the CNC machine, Zeke is going to remove a slab of ice from the back, creating a thinner product, which is easier to carve on. It won't last as long, but it's going to have a nice clear finish. We have the roughed out shape out of the CNC machine. What we're going to use is hand tools or power tools. You'll notice that this segment is filmed in the freezer itself. The ice is relatively hard at this point, so we need to use power tools. We won't use hand tools until we take it out and temper it, which is the next step. But here Zeke is using the angle grinder to smooth and contour the carving to give it definition. Here you'll notice Zeke is using the straight Dremel to create a detail on the turtle shell. Here Zeke is using the drill to shape and contour an inside curve between the turtle's fin and the wave supporting the sculpture at the bottom. Here I'm using the Dremel tool to shape and contour the fins of the turtle. Next, we're going to move this piece out of the walk-in freezer and into the walk-in refrigerator. This is a process known as tempering. We're not looking to melt the ice, but we're looking to raise the temperature of that block to about 30 to 32 degrees. What that will do is soften that ice and make it easier to finish by hand. This way we can get the detail work in there for a nice looking finished product. Once the block is tempered, I use the angle grinder just to shape and contour a bit more if I see something I don't like. If it's too thick somewhere or if I have a bad curvature, I'm just going to fix it really quickly with the angle grinder. I don't want to take too much off. That should have been done in the freezer. So this is just some finished shaping and contouring. Next, we're going to go to the hand tools. Here I'm using the flat chisel just to shape and contour. We're going to continue doing this over the whole piece until it looks just right. Next, we're going to watch a time lapse of Chef Diaz, Chef Zeke, and myself doing a swan. Please keep in mind that the swan is a two-sided carving, so when that block comes out of the CNC machine the first time, it has to get put back in to do the opposite side in a mirror image of itself. Pay attention. Hope you enjoy. Hi, Chef Roster here. If you like this video, please leave us a comment, subscribe, and click for notifications so you don't miss out on our latest videos. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.